Hello everyone. Welcome to the Blockchain News Club. I am excited to bring you the latest updates from the XRP world. We have some interesting development in the XRP lawsuit. Ripple Labs have objected to the sealing of Hinman Speech Documents. Despite a legal battle and a sluggish market recovery, Ripple has transferred $51.4 million in XRP. We will also be looking into the CBDC implementation in Russia and the EU. Russia is looking into two possible models for cross-border CBDC settlements this quarter. Before we go any further, I request you to please subscribe to our channel. It will help us immensely. Alright, let's dive right into it. With the dispute over the Hinman memos, the long-awaited summary judgment in the XRP lawsuit is moving closer. In its most recent documents, Ripple said that the disputed speech documents are legal documents. Ripple and the defendants both said that these memos should be taken into account when the court looks at the parties' motions for summary judgment. While the SEC hasn't been able to get around the strong presumptions of public access. In the case about XRP, the SEC has lost its claims about the Hinman speech documents about 6 times. After getting in trouble with the court, the commission finally gave the Ripple and defendants the disputed memos. On the other hand, it doesn't want these documents to be seen by the public. The court filing shows that the defendant wants the judge to deny the SEC's request to keep the Hinman speech documents secret. Ripple has used these memos a lot to back up their summary judgment motions in their briefs. This is a clear sign that bringing up disputed documents could affect the court's decision on the summary judgment motions. Ripple also said that the court's suggestion that Hinman memos might not be allowed in the trial for many reasons was based on an incomplete record. At that time, they hadn't read the documents, so they couldn't come up with or explain their arguments that might have been relevant to the SEC's claim. James K. Filan, a U.S. lawyer and former federal prosecutor, has been following the SEC case against Ripple Labs closely since it started 2 years ago. He recently posted a new update about the case on Twitter. He said that Ripple's legal team had responded to the regulator's recent request that some of the documents it had filed in connection with the summary judgment be changed. It looks like this is paperwork that has something to do with Dr. Hinman's emails, but not directly. According to the link to the document on Dropbox that Filan posted in his tweet, Ripple has fought the SEC's motion to keep the documents it had already submitted in the cross motions for summary judgment between the parties secret. In the letter, the Ripple defendants said that since the case had reached the summary judgment stage, it was very important for the public to be able to see the court documents. In this case, according to the letter, the regulator's legal team wants to keep secret the names and identifying information of witnesses whose testimony the SEC intends to use to prove its case, without identifying any compelling interest suggesting that secrecy is necessary. Both Ripple and the SEC had already sent in their motions for summary judgment. In December, they sent in their redacted answers to support the motions they had already made. Many people, including the head of Ripple and one of the defendants, Brad Garlinghouse, think that the case will be settled in the first quarter of 2023. But crypto law founder John Deaton thinks that the Ripple SEC case is more likely to end in a verdict than in a settlement. This is because the SEC is trying hard not to give the court the Hinman emails. Despite a legal battle and a sluggish market recovery, Ripple has transferred $51.4 million in XRP. The cryptocurrency industry as a whole has paid close attention to the litigation between Ripple Labs and the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. Ripple Labs' XRP coin and whether or not it is a security fall at the heart of the allegation. There has been significant price volatility in XRP since the lawsuit was filed. One deal in recent times has drawn much interest. In its continued battle to reclaim the 35 cents pricing mark, Ripple transferred 50 million XRP worth around $17.4 million not too long ago. On January 9, $17.4 million worth of XRP were sent from Ripple's wallet to an unnamed wallet. Very little is known about the destination wallet at this moment, although shortly after being received, around 15 million XRP were transferred to a Bitso wallet via 2 more addresses. 2 days earlier, on Sunday, it was claimed that the technology firm had delivered 100 million XRP worth around $34 million to an unnamed wallet. There were 2 further sizable XRP transfers after the latest Ripple transaction. The initial deposit to Bitstamp was a massive 40 million XRP valued at $13.9 million on January 9. After 10 minutes, a second transaction involving 32.7 million XRP equivalent to $11.4 million at the time was completed internally between 2 Bitso addresses. CBDC rollouts in Russia and the European Union has started in the beginning of 2023. Planning for the ECB's digital euro system is expected to get underway in the new year. This quarter, the Russian central bank will begin looking at 2 different cross-border CBDC settlement methods. The implementation of central bank digital currencies keeps getting better in 2023. From Europe to Russia, everyone has done a lot to speed up the process. Over 90% of central banks around the world are working on CBDCs, or central bank digital currencies. From Africa to China, regions have focused on steady growth to make sure that the CBDC is rolled out smoothly. Europe has been in a hurry to start using the digital euro. Its second and most recent progress report, called Progress on the Investigation Phase of a Digital Euro, came out at the end of last year. In its September 2022 report, the European Central Bank gave a faster timetable. Since October 2021, the ECB has been looking into the idea of a digital euro. This happened right before the peak of the cryptocurrency market, which is not a coincidence. The ECB has made it clear that stablecoins are competition for them. The ECB has talked with both public and private groups about developing the digital euro. This plan for a digital euro is said to start being written now, in January 2023. In the second quarter of 2023, the European Commission plans to propose a rule for a digital euro. Even has started making plans for the legislature. This means that the digital euro could be used in the real world in the next few years. The report also gives a few ideas for how the digital euro could look. The ECB doesn't want people to use peer-to-peer transactions, so it wants most digital euro transactions to go through a middleman, usually one of the big banks. But in the end, the ECB will be in charge of making and settling the digital euro. Also, they say that the middlemen will act as apps, websites, or wallets for the users. Even though privacy is still very important to many CBDC users, the ECB has said that the digital euro can't be used to stay completely anonymous. Not because of crime alone. But if the digital euro is anonymous, people could protect their buying power by holding a lot of CBDC. The ECB doesn't want this because it would be bad for the stability of the economy. For the digital euro scheme to work, every business in the Eurozone must be able to accept digital euros as payment. But also can pay employees in digital euros. It also says that people who don't have access to digital payments should be able to use digital euros. Russia is looking into two possible models for cross-border CBDC settlements this quarter. This was because of the sanctions that were put on it because of the war with Ukraine. The Bank of Russia gave a presentation to the local newspaper Kommersant. Over Telegram, important ideas were shared with BN Crypto. In this part of the proposal, there are two models that can be used as a starting point. Skeptics, on the other hand, think that the current state of technology and geopolitics will make it unlikely that these models will be used in the near future. The project is part of a bigger one called Digital Ruble. Its goal is to create a digital ruble that will work alongside cash and other types of rubles. The digital ruble isn't expected to pose as much of a risk as virtual currencies like Bitcoin. Mostly because it will be made by the state agency in charge of money and will be backed by regular money. The report shows that there are differences in how the two cross-border CBDC models work and how they move money. The first model is based on bilateral agreements between countries about how to connect their own digital currency platforms. For this to work, platforms in each country would need to make it easy for formats to be changed and moved between countries according to rules and standards that everyone agrees on. The second choice is a more centralized way of doing things. Here, the platform for each county will be linked to a single integration platform. This will make it easier for platforms that use digital currency to pay each other based on unified protocols and standards. The integrated platform will act as a hub, and each of the other platforms will be linked by a star. The answer in the first model is easier to understand. The second model, on the other hand, guarantees openness because all countries would be linked to a central entity. Roman Prokhorov, chairman of the board of the Association of Financial Innovations, admits, the implementation of cross-border settlements using the Central Exhibition Center will depend on the readiness, not so much of the Russian side. Here, our power to promote the CSP project is second only to China, but it depends on how ready our partners are to work with us. In practice, the two-way settlement plan would be put into place starting with China, which is where technology and politics are the most advanced. The multi-party approach seems like something from the future, given how closely the world is watching Russia's invasion of Ukraine. To realize this full potential, the 90% of central banks currently exploring CBDCs must embrace interoperability. This universal interoperability hinges on the use of open standards and neutral bridge assets optimized for speed, scalability, and cost to free up capital and enable the unrestricted movement of value between CBDCs. XRP ticks all the boxes, and it is crystal clear that the central banks and financial institutes has picked XRP to be the bridge currency. The price of XRP is set to soar once the SEC lawsuit against Ripple Labs ends. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe for regular updates in the blockchain community.